His Excellency Dr. Kingsley Amani, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations, His Excellency Babatunde Achisomo, ECOWAS Ambassador, Her Excellency Ingrid Watergate, Ambassador of Sweden, who is joining us through Zoom. His Excellency Laurent de la Rose, Ambassador, European Union Delegation of Liberia, who is also joining us through Zoom. The Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Vani A. Salif, Honorable Samuel D. Tuer Jr., Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Mawani Dix, the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Honorable Jester E. Murray, Minister of Mines and Energy, the Honorable Leto Julius Rennie, the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, our National Peace Ambassador, Reverend William Albert Turbot III, Honorable Janje Babwe, Superintendent of Grand Bassa County and Chairperson of the National Superintendents Council, and Superintendents and Delegates of the 8 counties present here today, the people of Bong County, civil society organizations, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Program marking the National Peace and Reconciliation Conference targeting 8 counties, including Montserrado, Grand Bassa, River G, Grand Crew, Maryland, Bombay, and Baguio. Under the theme, enhancing local voices for peace and reconciliation at national and county levels, held 3rd and 4th December 2020, here at the Gbanga Administrative Building Hall. Day 1, Thursday, 3rd of December. It is now my honor to invite Reverend Nimley, the religious advisor to the President, for our invocation.
In Jesus' name, I would like us to please stand as we pray. Let us bow our heads. Our Father, our God, we bless you. You are the maker of all things, peace. As we go through this peace conference today, we ask for your blessings. Thank you, Father. We bless you. Take control. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you very much. At this time, for our welcome remarks, I invite the Honorable Esther Yamawalker, Superintendent of Bong County. May we please put our hands together for our Superintendent.
His Excellency, Dr. Baru Medicine, the medicine for the wicked fathers, the man that said that women should be independent, the man that has kept the peace process that we are enjoying today, the man that moved us from court to court. Bong County is now benefiting 100 pieces. Minister of Internal Affairs, our Finance Minister, our Peace Ambassador, Dr. Tobo, other ministers here present, government officials, my colleagues and my chairman of the Superintendent Council, chiefs, traditional elders, firemen, ordinary citizens, market women, our friends, well-wishers, other friends from the diplomatic corps, members of the fourth estates, ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency, you and your entourage, we are over happy in Bong County. For the past 4 days you have stayed with us, we are very much grateful to God for you. Coming to this peace process, you started it, and today we are enjoying this peace in Liberia. We are grateful to you. We are thankful, Mr. President. We continue to pray to God for our president. Thank you for coming. Have a happy stay again in Bong County. We are giving you the power of authority because we represent you as the vice-jury of the president. But Chief, sir, when you're ready to go, please leave here. Mr. Minister, please turn the gavel over to His Excellency while he's here. When you're ready to leave, please leave.
Your Excellency, this gavel is your authority, fraction of your authority that you took and gave to us to manage this county. So this is, when you are here, our power ceases. So we are giving this authority to chair this conference, but if you leave with this gavel, then we won't have power anymore. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll make sure you get it back. Temporarily.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the background of this National Reconciliation Conference. I'm pleased to invite our own minister, the Honorable Van A. Selly, the Minister of Internal Affairs.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Dr. George Manawia, President of the Republic of Liberia, Chief Architect of Peace and Reconciliation in Liberia, having been a peace ambassador before, members of the 54th Legislature, if any, His Excellency Dr. Kingsley Amani, President Coordinator of the One UN System in Liberia, His Excellency Agisumo, my own big brother, ECOWAS Peace Ambassador, members of the Diplomatic Corps here, Madam Esther Walker, the Superintendent of the great county of Bong County, Mr. Chairman and members of the Council, the Superintendent Council of our 15 counties, the Lord Mayor of the great city of Gbanga, Your Excellency, Mr. President, we are opted to have here with us today, we didn't succeed, Samuel K. Doe Jr. to be a special guest, but unfortunately he couldn't make it here. Mr. Anthony Kwongba of both Dr. William Maratoba is here. The chairman and members of the Council of Chiefs and Elders, Mr. Eddie Momba, Executive Director of the Peace Building Office of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Dr. William Maratoba III, the Peace Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Chairperson and members of the National Council of Civil Society, members of the Fourth Estate, members of the Marketing Association here present, distinguished members of the Motorcyclist Union here, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, nearly 3 years ago, you instructed me and my team at the Ministry of Internal Affairs to complete the development of 7 counties' 5 years reconciliation plans. The counties are Monserrado, River G, Grand Bassa, Grand Cru, Maryland, Bong and Gbanga counties. With the dedication and commitment of these superintendents of these counties and the response that we receive from these communities in these counties to follow your instruction, Your Excellency, we have organized this second national conference on reconciliation to present for your kind endorsement the 7 counties plan. You will recall in March 2018, the first 8 counties, 5 reconciliation plans were presented to you. And you and your government overwhelmingly endorsed those county plans. The superintendents of these counties are incredible people with selfless mind, work for peace, and they are helping to enhance reconciliation within our republic. And let's please give them a hand. A number of research and assessment reports have been revealed that peace of Liberia, though it is well valued and appreciated, yet it is fragile and requires concerted and deliberate effort to consolidate it. So it means we all need to get involved. We have enjoyed peace since 17 years. Now, after the silence of guns, but the effect of the war remains in multiple dimensions in our different communities. Despite the progress made in reconciliations in the reconciliation sector, the wounds and hurts of the civil war still being grappled with within our country. It is acknowledged that some level of reconciliation and healing are taking place at different levels with different experiences in the various counties. Depending on what is spoken about, the extent to which reconciliation is achieved in the country, you may get mixed reaction with different intensities of reconciliation in different localities involving different personalities. Because reconciliation is central and fundamental to sustainable development, the TRC recommendation number 204 call for organization of annual reconciliation conferences rotating between the 15 counties of Liberia by rotating conferences on reconciliation creates platform for dialogue and healing. Your Excellency, Mr. President, you have constantly challenged us as officials of government to explore innovative ways to enable genuine reconciliation, and it is believed that rotational reconciliation conferences between countries will create new opportunities for victims to heal and be reconciled, and to remain their destinies in their designated facilities, in their designated facility and in marginalized groups, including ethnic, gender, political, religious group, to feel accepted and included in the Liberian society. And Your Excellency, we feel this is the most sustainable way we can continue to foster peace and reconciliation in the country. Also, mobilizing effort around repatriation, mobilization, Palava Hub system, and diaspora engagement, among others, will help us to rebuild relationship bounds between social, political, economic groups, as well as between families, clans, ethnic groups, and towns. 7 years ago, Your Excellency, you set the foundation for reconciliation, then in your capacity as National Peace Ambassador. When you launched the implementation of the strategy of the roadmap of the National Peace and Healing and Reconciliation Platform. The Roma defined reconciliation as overcoming social, economic, and religious privileges aimed at addressing the wrong of the past, managing the present, and planning for the future. It outlines 12 key areas of priority interventions. With these 5 countries plan of reconciliation, which are integrated into the roadmap and align with the proposed agenda for prosperity and development (PAPD), we believe addressing fragility and any root causes of conflict are right direction being pursued by this government under your leadership, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, Mr. President, our partners and fellow citizens, while Liberia is on the path of reconciliation, it has to begin with oneself, personal reconciliation, then followed by intergroup and other forms of reconciliation, economic, social, and political reconciliation. Under your leadership, Mr. President, we can assure you of our commitment to create spaces that will enable our people to reach out to one another and to find common ground for healing and forgiveness. We will continue to work with our chiefs, elders across the country in exploring indigenous way of facilitating healing reconciliation as part of the agenda for peace and reconciliation in our country. In fact, this seems to be sustainable in nature. Let me take this time to thank UNDP, the Peace Building Office, the Peace Building Fund for complementing government effort in holding national conference on peace and reconciliation with the participation of all our citizens that have come here today. We also like to recognize the important role of civil society organizations, particularly NAMO, for working with the Peace Building Office in organizing this stakeholder meeting that we are having here today. Finally, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Liberia, we want to take this time to welcome all of you to this all-important peace conference of our country. Mr. President, we are proud of you. You continually inspire us. As peace ambassador, I'm happy to be blessed and work with you. You are genuine. You are truly a peace ambassador. And this time around, we'll call you the Bar Peace Doctor. If there's no peace anywhere, you can come on this president, you will have peace there because it's peaceful. That's why it's changing the lives of our citizens from hot to horses. Your Excellency, thank you very much.
At this time, we'll take remarks. First, Ms. Loretta Kokai, Chairperson, National Civil Society Council of Liberia.
His Excellency Dr. George Manawia, President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. Kingsley Amani, UN Resident Coordinator to the Republic of Liberia, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honorable Ministers of the National Legislature, government officials here present, international partners, my own civil society organizations, women, young women and girls, students, members of the Hope Estate, ladies and gentlemen. The gathering here marks a critical reflection and foundation for the true and genuine Liberia we have cried out for over the years. When Liberians and their friends meet 5 days to a critical election that further sets the basis for continuous peace and reconciliation, where bonds and relationships have been broken due to devastated civil war, where over 250,000 persons died with their blood and sweat went under the ground in a quest for social justice, for better life, and for democratic governance based on the rule of law, where women and children became more vulnerable, enslaved, and dehumanized and dejected by certain groups in the society, where over millions of our brothers and sisters were forced to flee to foreign countries in search for safety and safe haven. It is now, therefore, becoming increasingly necessary, Mr. President, and the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for us to collectively confront and address the roots of our civil war. We need to clarify and reconcile our divisive history to ensure the recognition and reflection of all ethnic Liberians in a democratic discourse with inclusivity and participation. We need to strengthen and respect systems that uphold the integrity and promote rights for all individuals, including women, children, and youth. We must deploy genuine efforts and initiatives that will reconcile Liberians in the diaspora with Liberians at home. We must build a culture of conflict prevention and prevent impunity if we are truly serious about genuine reconciliation. 18 years on today, we are still in search of a reconciled nation. The bitterness, in spite of the hard lessons learned over the years, has quadrupled and is devastating. Today, as we sit in this hall, it's possible we can resolve here to set our course right and for once reconcile ourselves. Or we can take the road most traveled, quiet our ears with softened, obvious rhetoric so that 20 years on, we will again call for another reconciliation conference. That is, if we survive the consequences of our failure to make hard choices to once and for all build a united country. Every day we see the red flags of division and hatred posted before our eyes. These flags are so visible and present. Naming them will be monotonous and repetitious. Today, we have an opportunity once more to look up and see them, make a choice to dehost the flags so that peace and unity reigns, or extend the ropes so that it goes higher with massive, even greater potency. I hope we will not do the latter. As the umbrella group of all civil society organizations, we are yet to help to bring down the flags of hatred and division. At this table, our conversations, and we hope all of our conversation will be to talk about the hard, visible truth, make a case for a strong, practical approaches for genuine, lasting reconciliation, and project as a fairer and better country for our today and generation to come. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, we are very happy for this event today. Mr. President, over the years, we have observed you to be a man of peace, This has been demonstrated by your actions and deeds. As National Peace Ambassador in the former regime, you launched the implementation of the strategic roadmap for national peace building, healing, and reconciliation. And the question here, where is that roadmap today? We want to ask you, Mr. President, to kindly reflect and put premium on the implementation of that roadmap by integrating the country's plan into the counter plans into the roadmap for implementation. Your government will be addressing a number of the TRC recommendations because the thematic areas of the roadmap constitute recommendations of the TRC report. Also, one key concern training with your people at this movement is the issue of the referendum, which comes up in 5 days from now. At such a critical time, their message is clear. Mr. President, I want to use this time to join my citizens, the voices of civil society, to call on you to take a step and postpone the national referendum. Mr. President, the people are saying the needed time to understand and make informed decisions in the best interest of the country. But again, this is just a genuine hope and nothing more. We call on all actors to always give a listening ear to the cry of the people, especially as a barrier for peaceful coexistence and a truly reconciled society. Their cries reverberate. They are anxious, worried, but also grateful for the positive interventions from your government, Mr. President. I want to use this time to call on the government to listen to the cry of the people. It is not yet late. Finally, I would like to close by congratulating you and your government for this conference and to assure you of our full support and specifically call on you and your government to kindly and urgently consider implementing the TRC recommendations. Again, let's continue to work hard to protect and sustain the peace we all enjoy today. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Interreligious Council of Liberia, Secretary General Rebecca Tamba Major, to make a remark.
Excellency Dr. George Mania, President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. Kingsley Amani, UN Resident Coordinator, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Legislature, Minister of Government, civil society, chiefs and elders, the religious community, the press, my beloved mothers and fathers. Bishop Porter K. Brown regret his absence and requested me to member Dr. Baker, the Secretary General of the Interreligious Council of Liberia, to proceed for me. From the onset, the building of peace and reconciliation in the country, you will recall that the religious community have made important contributions. So the theme of this conference, Enhancing Local Voices for Reconciliation, is a wake-up call for all Liberians. We stand ready to work with the government and partners to repairing broken relationships and creating opportunity for genuine peace and reconciliation. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you have the assurance of the Interreligious Council on this. I thank you all.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Major, on behalf of the United Nations Development Program, a key partner to the Ministry of Internal Affairs in the Peace Building and Reconciliation Drive, and I invite for remark His Excellency Mulugeta Abibi. Please put your hands together for Mr. Abibi. His Excellency Dr. George Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, government officials, development partners, traditional leaders, members of the Interreligious Council, representatives of the 7 counties, superintendents, women and youth groups, CSOs, especially the implementing partner, NIMOTE, the press, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to acknowledge and applaud His Excellency Dr. George Weah, the President of Liberia, for creating an environment for ordinary Liberians to identify key social cohesion and reconciliation issues affecting them. We also acknowledge and applaud the Ministry of Internal Affairs through the Peace Building Office, NIMOTE for leading this effort in identifying key social cohesion and reconciliation issues at the county and district levels, thus providing the space for ordinary citizens to be here. We also recognize the political leadership of the county superintendents, youth and women groups, as well as marginalized groups for their active participation in this process. We'd also like to use this opportunity to highlight the importance of implementing the recommendations coming out of this county consultation, which forms the core of this reconciliation plans. And we urge the need for continuous peace building and reconciliation efforts by all stakeholders to sustain the gains made and for continuous investments in peace building, as it is fundamental for sustainable development. I would like to conclude by highlighting the need for sustained investment in peace building and social cohesion by partners and the government of Liberia, and reaffirming UNDP's partnership with the government of Liberia and the civil society organization to continuously invest in peace building and reconciliation in Liberia. Thank you. At this time, we will listen to a remark from the Swedish Embassy and the head of International Development Cooperation will speak via Zoom. Okay, so we'll get back to Sweden later on. We'll now take remarks from Ambassador William Howard Tobert, the third National Peace Ambassador of the Republic of Liberia.
Your Excellency, President Dr. George Weah, our international partners, representatives of the UN system, and our friends from the ECOWAS region, officials of government, representing the legislature, judiciary, and the executive, traditional and religious leaders, women and youth, all local stakeholders, to the public and private sectors, and the media, all protocols observed. As I prepared to come to Gbanga, I decided to go back and review the communique that was developed in 2018 to see what we have done since then. And the good thing that I acknowledge is that we started a process that culminated in the coming together of the 8 counties at the Monrovia City Hall. And we drafted the first report from those 8 counties. That in itself was a major accomplishment. Coming forward, we are in 2020. And I want to have us think about 1 or 2 critical things that we need to look at going ahead. We have come together to endorse the other 7 counties, which were not part of that initial process. Now, the first thing, which is very important, the process of developing those county plans involved everyone at the local level. Town, clan, district, county, and it brought together people who we do normally not hear from. The traditional leaders, the religious leaders at the county level, the women and youth, all participated in the formulation of those county plans. And it's a good thing. I remember when we were getting ready for this process, I talked to Brother Eddie Jowell and I said, Eddie, one thing we have to always bear in mind is that when we started 2018, things were different. So we have to look at the contextual changes that have happened since then. We're in 2020. So are those plans relevant to today? And if they're not relevant to today, what can we do to make them relevant, to ensure that as we make those applications to now, it will have the desired impact and give us the desired dividends at the national level. And you know that this process of development of plans, we have to see what is happening, because in 2018, we didn't have COVID. But COVID is here now. And so we all have to be incognito with our mask. We have to be very careful with COVID. This is a reality that we must face. And people say this is the new normal. And one of the phenomena that is not only affecting us at the national level, but we talk about international implications and how it affects Liberia's development plans going forward. The other thing that I think is very important for us to remember as a nation and people, we are in December. A few days from now, we'll be having our elections, central elections. And the referendum. So we also, as a nation and people, must be mindful of our roles, our responsibilities going forward, that we should work together to ensure that we have a peaceful, free, and fair election without violence. Without violence. This is a time for us to elect officials who will represent us. This is not a time to go and fight with somebody over some issue. After election, we'll still be family. After election, we'll still go to the same church, the same mosque, the same school, then farm together, eat together in the same pan. Let us use this opportunity to have peaceful, non-violent election. Now, what have we done since 2018? Please bear with me now. I promise I will be brief. One of the things that we need to be reminded about is that in 2018, we agreed that government would do everything in its power to ensure that those recommendations, those resolutions put forward would be implemented. And we see what is happening at the national level. We see plans have been made. We see implementation of the plans going on. And we know that we are making progress. Have we arrived? Has everything been accomplished? No. Are we making progress? Yes. Let us acknowledge the progress that is being made, build on those things that we have done, and look forward to see how we can move ahead as a nation and people. One other thing that was recommended in 2018 is that we must ensure that we undergird our efforts, especially at the border areas, to ensure peace consolidation, reconciliation, stability, and security. This needs to be particularly addressed, especially with the influx of refugees coming in from Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire. We hear that they are coming in because of the reports of electoral violence in our neighboring countries. So we must make sure that those people coming in, we know who they are. We work with RRRC, we work with UN agencies to ensure that we maintain peace and security at our border regions. And we make sure that all the COVID protocols are observed as they come in those host communities, in the refugee camps. Praise the Lord. All right. One of the things I think we must also bear in mind, and I'm very concerned about this, when we talk about the 5-year development plans developed by the countries, we must think more long-term, because the 5-year plans are almost now obsolete. We have to see how we can make more long-term strategic plans to sustain our peace and development and security. 5 years, short term. 5 years, short term. We need to think as a nation and people more long term to sustain development here in Nigeria. The other thing is that everyone who is part of this process must take ownership, accept the plans. The judiciary, the legislature, the executive, all ministers, we all have to work together to take ownership of these plans and ensure that we work seriously with His Excellency the President to ensure that all that we decide, all that we accept and own will be implemented in our national interest. So much needs to be done. So we thank Almighty God that we're making progress. We thank those of you who have come today to be part of this process, but those who are not with us physically, but they are monitoring on Zoom. Let us work together. It is said that peace is not the absence, only the absence of war. And we have constant reminder that our peace is fragile. Well, let me just encourage all of us. We are here together. Peace is not just the absence of war, but peace is the presence of God. And where God is present, there is justice. Where God is present, there is law and order. Where God is present, there is purity, not impunity. Where God is present, there is reform. Where God is present, there is dialogue. Where God is present, there is tolerance and peaceful coexistence of everyone, from every background, every socioeconomic level, every educational level, every ethnic level, background, every religious background. We are tolerant, we are peaceful, we have coexistence where God is present. We know that we have to go a long way, but we are talking. We're in partnership to the international community. Thank you for being our partner, for accompanying us in this process, and to each and every one of us. Our fathers, our mothers, our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters. Well done. Let us continue. Let us continue. The President, His Excellency, Mr. George Manuel Weah, cannot do it by himself. It requires the commitment of every man, woman, boy, and girl to work together. Set aside our differences. We are different, but we are one people, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. God bless you. Thank you.
The Honorable John J. Babwek, Superintendent of Grand Bassa, Chairperson of the National Superintendent Council of Liberia, will make brief remarks.
On the number President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Manuel Weah, and all cabinet ministers present here, members of the diplomatic board, members of the civil society organization present, National Council of Chiefs and Elders of Liberia, officials of the National Superintendent Council of Liberia, and the Superintendent of Bong County, Mr. Host, participants from all counties, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. Mr. President, on behalf of the National Superintendent Council of Liberia, of the 14 political subdivision, we want to unequivocally say to you and the Minister of the Cabinet that the role you have played over the years to preserve the peace that we are enjoying today, we think it is unremarkable. Ranging from our pre-war startups, where they helped to disarm our brothers and sisters that fought the war, ranging from the days of political leader of the Congress for Democratic Change, serving as peace ambassador for this country. We think you have done well for this country and continue to do well. We have come today to appreciate you in this manner, and to appreciate the government for restoring the peace in this country, regardless of the situation people be in about. We are superintendents, the able lieutenants in the 15th political subdivision, we work along with the Minister of Internal Affairs to make sure that we uphold the peace, and we enjoy the peace, and we continue to uphold the peace until that will come. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We appreciate you, and we continue to work along with you. Thank you so much.
Honorable J. Marvin Cole, Secretary, Bong County Legislative Caucus, will make remarks on behalf of the legislature.
Excellency Dr. George Manawia, President of the Republic of Liberia, other distinguished excellencies, our press, traditional leaders, the women and our friends, I want to say on behalf of the Bong Legislative Caucus, you are welcome into the centrally located and peaceful county Bong. Mr. President, when I saw the caption of this occasion, enhancing peace, I am reminded if this country is discussing peace under your administration, it is the best thing to talk about because you are the ambassador of peace and you have maintained peace in our country. To us, peace is a process that it is in each and every one of us. We must learn to be at peace with each other. To move Liberia and to consolidate peace in Liberia, it means that we should tolerate the opposite view of other people. That is the only way we will coexist as people. Mr. President, on behalf of the Legislative Caucus of Bong County, I want to say thank you for being in Bong County today and thank you for your continual effort to enhance peace in the Republic of Liberia. Thank you.
I'm now pleased to invite for remarks His Excellency Babatunde Ajisomo, Ambassador of ECOWAS.
Your Excellency President George Manawia, members of the cabinet, they are present, members of the 54 legislature, they are present, officials of government at national, county, and district levels, they are present. Members of the diplomatic corps, and of course my dear friend and brother, Dr. Kinsley Amani, and our colleagues that are joining us via Zoom. Representative of civil society organizations that are here present, our traditional leaders, women and youth leaders, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to have the opportunity to deliver some remarks at this auspicious occasion of today. As I recall, that ECOWAS being one of the key moral guarantors of the Accra Comprehensive Peace Agreement of 18 August 2003, dwelled extensively on the need for the people of Liberia to be reconciled. Moving forward, from 2003, we have also taken note with delight the steady efforts that the government and people of Liberia have made to consolidate peace, with the robust work done by the TRC, which submitted their report in 2009. And also the peace building plan, before peace building plan, and the strategic roadmap for peace building, national healing, and reconciliation, which His Excellency President John Weah, the architect of peace, championed. From 2012 to 2016, you all recall the UN Security Council Resolution 233, which called for the development of peace building plan for Liberia, that ECOWAS played a tremendous role. And of course also in 2018, as the Minister of Internal Affairs highlighted, and the Peace Ambassador, we had the first National Peace Conference where recommendations from 8 counties, their peace plan were deliberated upon. And that occasion was very significant because The Liberia Development Agenda, the PAPD, was also extensively discussed. From 2018, we have also seen efforts that have been made. Here in this hall, in 2019 May, we were here for the meeting on the implementation, the colloquial 3-day talk on the implementations of the TRC. Today we are here for the second National Peace and Reconciliation Conference. And I want to state right away that this effort is well applauded by ECOWAS because it's in tandem with our protocol on conflict prevention, democracy, and peace building. It is a recognition of this that we also welcome wholeheartedly the mechanism that have been deployed both in 2018 and in 2020, which is to have a dialogue that is owned nationally, a dialogue that is all-inclusive, a dialogue that is also compliant with human rights instruments, which in effect means that no one should be left behind. And that is why we could see across the board, at the national, at the county, and the district level, as the peace ambassador mentioned, that this exercise is owned by the people of Liberia. So we're sending a message, Liberia is sending a message to the region that we have the capability to be able to manage our affairs. ECOWAS applaud you and welcome this initiative wholeheartedly. We also appreciate that it is also designed to promote and unify the country, as well as to end fragility and address the root causes of conflict. In so doing, to go ahead to also provide equal access to justice and human rights, as well as enabled economic transformation and sustainable development. It will also lead to improvement in civic trust and promote coexistence and civic engagement and satisfaction with state service delivery. It is also aimed at reducing violence as an indicator for improved social cohesion as well as reducing fragility. It is also designed to make Liberia a society that embraces its triple heritage and guarantees space for all positive cultures to thrive. This, we believe, is geared towards encouraging increased positive interactions among various heritages to cultivate understanding and tolerance for the nation's diversity. When we look at the social cohesion and the reconciliation score, we're happy that this exercise will take note of this to focus more attention on the implementation of the Local Government Act, which we're happy that they developed a 10-year Marshall Plan, as well as the Land Right Act, to provide access to land. ECOWAS will remain committed to promoting necessary support in the Liberia's quest for durable peace, for reconciliation and sustainable development. I joined previous speakers to commend the Minister of Internal Affairs and all those who have worked tirelessly to bring this occasion to date. I want to thank the civil society in the name of Oscar Blue and others who have worked so well. But more importantly, my gratitude goes to the President, who is a symbol of peace. who have demonstrated that without peace, there cannot be proper reconciliation. And without sustainable development, which is well anchored in the PAPD agenda. You see, the PAPD agenda is dependent on each other. All the 4 pillars, as we are implemented, pillar 1, pillar 2, 3, and 4, they are all interdependent. So we thank the government focusing on infrastructure, focusing on agriculture, socio-economic development, as this will create a proper, lasting peace and a genuine reconciliation. We thank you all.
Thank you, Ambassador. And as you mentioned, the Land Authority, let me recognize the presence of Attorney J. Adam Manuba, the chairman of the Liberia Land Authority, who's in the hall, as well as the acting chair of the Independent Commission, Attorney Hallelujah or Kuli. They are all present here. Excellency, it's now my pleading duty to invite for a special statement on behalf of the United Nations system in Liberia, His Excellency Dr. Kingsley Amani, Coordinator of the United Nations.
Excellency Dr. George Managia, President of the Republic, Excellencies and officials of the government of Liberia, particularly Madam Mayor of the great city of Gbanga, members of the legislature, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, all protocols observed. I wish to commend you, the President, and your entire government, and particularly my brother, the Minister of Interior, for your collective, tireless dedication and leadership in the promotion of lasting peace and reconciliation in Liberia, including the implementation of the strategic roadmap for national healing, peace building, and reconciliation. Despite the inherent constraints, and I would not want to dwell on the constraints because you all feel it. Bringing about peace after war in a context of grinding poverty, of widespread psychological trauma to war and atrocities, very limited resources, Mr. Finance knows, both in terms of budget and expertise, various institutional issues, and I don't want to continue. And I know how we met last.
provided by the entire United Nations wish you all an inspiring and rewarding experience over the next couple of days of celebration. Permit me, Mr. President, also express my deepest appreciation for the invitation to make special I know, but I'll try and see if I can do that. It is both humbling and a privilege to be given an opportunity to add my voice to the important conversations that we are having here today on peace consolidation and national reconciliation, and also talk about the role of the United Nations and what it plays, how it plays it, and will continue to play in the process. Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is the driving characteristic of human that characteristically our diversity of views, expectations, and opinions, that even before very widely shared experience, such as conflict and outcomes, we all tend to see reconciliation, otherwise humanity would not survive. That we see reconciliation comes to mean different things to different people. It is therefore not unexpected that sometimes we notice that there is in every community, and in this particular case, in all the stakeholders of peace building, a certain lack of clarity and a certain lack even of national unified purpose. But generally, and I think if we look at the history of Liberia, we can say that this has been embedded in our whole reconciliation journey throughout Liberia's history. Even the 2009 Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, which among others recommended repairing broken communities, has been not totally able, and at this stage we can say still unable, to produce the necessary social, cultural, political and economic change that will benefit all Liberians. But we should not be discouraged, because what it sets out to do is not an event but a process, and therefore we should all work together patiently to get to the end of the process. Similarly, the strategic roadmap for national healing, peace building and reconciliation, which was launched in December 2012, which distills elements of the TRC recommendation and proposes a number of national strategies to advance reconciliation. Certainly, it's a very good document, but it was also intended that there should be measures that would build sustainable peace and stability, deal with the past abuses, reconcile victims, perpetrators, and other stakeholders, and to move from a divided past into a better shared future, all over time. There is no doubt that since then a lot of progress has been made. But it is also clear that this progress has been uneven and it has honestly not fully achieved the intended outcomes. But yet, we should not be discouraged, because the journey has just begun. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we all knew right after the war, such a gruesome and atrocious war, that the road to consolidate peace in Liberia and reconciliation was not going to be smooth. And it is still not. Yes, despite 15 years of uninterrupted peace, for which Liberians should be commended, and the end of an extended but successful peacekeeping period in March 2018. The peacekeeping and peace building spearheaded by the UN and its generous partners is generally touted as a successful model. And I give great commendation to the international community for its realization. But like everything good, it could not continue indefinitely. The withdrawal of the UN mission in Liberia offered Liberians the opportunity to be in the driver's seat, take their destiny in their own hands, and move the nation forward. And I should commend you all, especially Mr. President and your team, as well as your immediate predecessors, that you have so far ensured that Liberia has passed the test of survival and peace up to now. At the heart of achieving reconciliation is the relationship between and among Liberians. Good relationship, improving relationship between and among Liberians. And to achieve this goal, all important, Liberia needs to develop strong relationships built on trust and respect. That should allow it to address the inequalities and the inequities in the society. I know the government has taken many steps to start responding to this through the launch of the Palava Hut, the establishment of peace huts around the country, the National Peacekeeping Experience or exercise led by the Governance Commission, the construction and operation of Regional Justice Act, and President George Weah's commitment to initiate a series of national peace dialogues across the country, among others, is commendable. But we know that much more also needs to be done by the government, its partners, including and most importantly the civil society, in order to consolidate peace and achieve sustainable economic development. Mr. President, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations is committed to supporting the government, its partners, and the people of Liberia in their quest for lasting peace, reconciliation, and accountability. In whatever form the people of Liberia choose, so long as it is human rights compliant. The difficult task must be a Liberian-led endeavor, nationally owned, compliant with international standards, and credible in the eyes of the victims. The United Nations strongly believes that accountability in whatever form chosen by the Liberian people is essential to achieving long-lasting peace. In fact, as is variously said, and I quote, accounting for past actions is an important element of healing and reconciliation. It is also among the first steps toward transforming relationships at a different level. And all know. So, building a better future and reconciled nation is not a task for the government alone. Governments can be changed every 6 years. Everyone must be actively committed to making it a reality, including all political parties, civil society, the private sector, and development partners. An ongoing dialogue among stakeholders and decision makers must ensure that all parts of society understand their roles and their responsibilities and the absolute necessity of living together in respect for each other's diversity and identity and aspiration. The gender dimension of reconciliation is still far from being satisfactory, simply because old habits die hard. But progress also needs to be registered in this domain, as it is in fact imperative if Liberians will live better and forget their pains, the pains of their past. It should be collective and leave no one behind. Youth and women should be an integral part of any effort to enjoy rights, human rights for everybody and the fruit of their labor in this country. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I close, let me emphasize this. Liberia will be what Liberians want it to be. Liberians have the opportunity to rewrite their history, narrate their story, and define their future. If Liberians choose to establish a new era of collective actualization through collective determination, it will lead to infinite possibilities. But this can easily be done through an inclusive political, economic, and social development. This is the way to go, and it has been proven to be the formula for success everywhere. I must tell you this. I guarantee you, the President, members of the government, leaders of the state, and civil society, that the United Nations will be honored in such circumstances to accompany you with all this success.
our unbreakable peace. There is where each of us, must examine ourselves. Have you instilled peace in your mind? Have you incorporated peace in your behavior? Have you incorporated peace in your rhetoric? Or are you still engaged in pronouncement of mistrust and mistrust? So that even when you see threat, you say, oh, that's me. So that even when there's an accident, you say, oh, somebody killed me. So even when you see the policeman who is responsible for peacekeeping, you immediately regard him as an enemy. You will then continue to chase this. You will then continue to say our fragile peace. But fragile peace. Peace and reconciliation can only be constructed on the foundation of dialogue. And I will add honest dialogue. Dialogue and honesty. If people must speak their mind, then everybody will be willing and ready to listen. Whether it is a likable story or not, all be sincere and one, ready to listen, dialogue. And other communities, those who have hurt, those who have injured us, come forth and say, look, I'm sorry. And those who have been injured, when you say, yes, I accept your apology, don't come back tomorrow and say, I see you did me yesterday. Can you see what you did me yesterday? No. No, not to make work right now. Non-violence is the cornerstone of peace. We must strive to develop a society where one does not need to be physical to express himself. You can be hurt without throwing stones. You can be hurt without blocking the traffic. You can be hurt with people in school, people at work, people sitting in their living room, and with the modern technology now, watch you protest. You will be hurt. Few days from today, we are going to the polls. And we have told our security forces to prepare for nothing but a peaceful election. By law, we are the fully legitimate body that we use. They usually hear that you are National Police Force. They usually hear Joint Security Forces. Legitimate force is used within the framework of the law. And we don't ever wish to use force when it is not necessary, when it is not required. So we are prepared, very prepared for a peaceful election. We go to the polls, we will all vote peacefully. We leave from there, we go home. Those who can drink Fanta, drink it. So who can drink beer, you drink. And you sit down and wait for the results. This is what we know it will be. We promise that to you, and we promise that to everybody. So if anybody saw a behavior that is not peaceful or that invites anything other than peace, we expect you to point out that behavior. During some of the protests, we worked so closely with the organizers that we said if you saw somebody in the group misbehaving, we didn't want to send the police in there because who knows? The protesters themselves were to arrest you and bring you to the police. And it worked. It worked very well. Because nobody got injured, nobody got hurt. One or two arrests that were made to maintain and sustain the peace, those people were released after the protest dispersed. This is what we want to see on the 8th. I am a lawyer, but I suffer the contradiction of not being a long speaker. The lawyers like to talk, but the lawyer doesn't talk much. So we see you on the 8th. We have started deploying. We are deploying fully for peace. And we welcome you at the polls and ensure that you cast your vote peacefully. Thank you very much.